communication, right? Communication, and not even communication, comprehension. They're talking about the 5 love languages, right? Talk about communication, the communication in whole, right? Men are from, what they say, men are from Mars,
women are from Venus.
That's a fact. Love languages, we talk different. It's not even, it's not about us talking different. We understand different.
Yeah, we do. We hear different messages, like, you know, and I think that comes from many different things. But of course, we hear different messages, and sometimes we hear no message at all. And all we hear is ourselves. I know sometimes all you got to do is hear yourself. And of course, sometimes there are times that I only hear myself. And I'm not hearing a word that you said. You know, women, we go off. Like, you know, yeah, okay, you ain't but so, you know, good yourself, brother.
I think I listen to you. I hear you. It's just after a while it becomes redundant. So it's like, you could tell me something.
Trying to sound repetitive?
Isn't that what redundant means?
I just need clarity.
I'm just saying, if you tell me something one time, for the most part, I understand. I got it. I don't need you to tell me 2, 3, 4, 5 times.
So we could go back to the refrigerator real quick. If that's the case, why do I have to constantly tell you about the refrigerator? If you heard me the first time, then that means you should be fixing it to make sure that it's accurate and that you won't have to hear me say it again.
But it's a refrigerator. Like, it's not that serious to me.
But it's not the principle about it being a refrigerator. It's more or less about organization.
It's a refrigerator.
It's still about organization. It's you looking only at the surface. Sometimes you can't just look at the surface of things. You have to look what's the underlying issue. It's just like when people get into arguments. That's a whole nother topic. Like when people get into arguments, what are they really arguing about? Okay. Are you arguing about what's on the surface, or is there something else that's really bothering you, but you really can't say it, or you may not feel comfortable with saying it?
So what? That's
a whole nother topic, brother.
So what is it then? What is it? Is it?
So let's go back because you said.
Is it because when I go in the refrigerator, I get what I want, and then I just leave the refrigerator as is, or is it something? There's an underlying issue?
No, it's organization. Personally, for me, I like to live an organized life. I like for things to be neat. If things are not neat to me, then it makes me feel like there's clutter. And so if there's clutter in my home, then there's clutter in my life.
I heard that before. I read that, right? Like, your surroundings equate to your life or some shit like that. Right? So to some extent, that's cool. However, you go in the refrigerator, you get what you want. That's it. I don't understand. Nobody sees the refrigerator but you, right? You go in the refrigerator, so you're saying it's more a personal. It's personal.
What do you mean nobody sees the refrigerator? Sometimes you might have company, family might come over.
Nobody goes to the
people
refrigerator.
Yes, people do. Yes, people do.
So you think somebody gonna judge you on how your refrigerator?
No, it's not about judgment though. It's nothing. It's nothing to do with them. It has nothing to do with them. I can't worry about if people gonna judge me. My thing is just more or less like, it's my personal preference. It's organization for my personal preference. And so I was living this lifestyle before you came into the picture, and I'm gonna live this lifestyle while you're in the picture.
Yeah, okay. I get it. But it's still, for me, it's a point where it's like communication, right? Communication, and not even communication, comprehension. They're talking about the 5 love languages, right? So
what's your love language?
My love language, how I talk, or how?
Tell the people.
Huh?
Tell the people.
How I talk, my love language, or what I receive is the love language, what I want?
No, how you speak.
I think I speak with more of actions. I think. Where's my damn phone at? I could Google it because I can't remember the 5 love languages, because I know one's like affirmations.
Words of affirmation, physical touch. Another one is like gift giving, Something like that. Another one is
sex. Right? It's like body.
No,
like
physical touch is a part of that.
Oh, physical touch.
All right. Words of affirmation. Gift giving.
Right.
And I forgot the fourth or the fifth one, but.
Right. So out of those,
you're not a gift giver.
Wow. You a lie.
Gift giving is totally different though. Gift giving is like the way that you would speak in terms of like, if I'm upset about something, instead of you actually apologizing, you just give me a gift as a form of an apology.
Nah, I'm definitely not doing that.
Exactly. See, so you thought it was something bad. You see, this is a prime example of messages getting conveyed because you thought I was trying to play you, and there goes your defense. And so then that brings me back to, I'm your wife. Oh, you didn't catch that though.
Listen, if we get into an argument, whatever, I'm not buying you a gift. We know that, right? However, I will come and massage you and rub you and, you know, apologize. Like, okay, I'm sorry, baby. And yes, my love language is sex. It's physical touch. That's how I communicate with you, right? And I don't think, it's not saying nothing is wrong with it or something is right with it. It just, that's more or less my language, right? My communication pattern.
It's not about right or wrong. You're absolutely right. It's not about that, but it's, I mean, let's go right back real quick. You said about gifts, right? You said about giving gifts. Gifts. Ladies love the gifts. So there's nothing wrong if you say an apology and you say, hey, I got you this bag today. Or, hey, you know, I got you a pair of sneakers that you might have needed. It's thoughtful.
I give you gifts.
Then you might get the sex at the end too.
One hand, you know, one thing.
One hand wash the other, right?
Yeah, but I don't I'm not thinking about that. I'm thinking like, I get you gifts. I take care of you as a man, like as a husband, right?
Yes, as a husband.
I take care of you. So I just don't get like, and I do little things. Like I get you the little cupcake things. What's the things? Baked by Melissa. I bring you Baked by Melissa's home. You don't eat candy like that, so I bring you little snacks and all that. That's random, right? So not because we got in an argument, I gotta say sorry. So I don't, you know what I'm saying? So can it be that that's not my love language, but I know that's what you enjoy. You enjoy gifts.
Right.
So this is where it comes in about learning your partner's love language.
Of course. And I guess when do you think that you learn? Because I think initially when we first start dating, obviously when you first start dating a person, you don't know their love language, right? And even so, you might even get all the way up to marriage and still not know their love language. Like, look at us, prime example, right? I think everyone knew of love languages. Everyone heard of this book before. Everyone heard of the saying before. Okay, well, you're a rare case. You're a rare case. But I'm sure the audience heard of the 5 love languages, right? So you're a rare example. So now everyone heard of the 5 love languages before. But how many times have we actually sat there and said, you know what, wait, what language am I speaking? How many times do we actually say what language am I speaking when we get into an argument with our significant other? Or when we talk into, you know, whatever the issue is, or do we even sit down with our significant other and say, hey, wait, let's take a minute and actually explore what messages we communicate into one another? Or do we just go at it? I don't think anyone really kind of does that. And even if they do, you know, there may be some people out there who do it. But for us, I think when we wanted to talk about when we was getting married, that wasn't brought to the forefront until we went to premarital counseling. So when we went to premarital counseling, this was brought up that in order for us to even get to that point of marriage, we needed to know each other's love language. And I think it enlightened us.
No, it did. Because that was actually the first time I heard of the 5 languages, the 5 love languages. So once I read the book, I'm like, oh, all right, it's some truth to it. Like, I don't agree with everything I read. I don't, you know, it's just who I am. But I do agree that we speak different languages. And just to go back, it's more about not communicating, but comprehension. Because we can talk all day. We can spew rhetoric at each other all day. But neither one of us is comprehending, understanding what the other is saying. This shit is falling on deaf ears.
Right. It goes back to what I just said. You either listen to reply or you listen to understand. And there are times when we are alternating between both, especially in a heated argument. In a heated argument, I'm just listening to reply. Like, oh, no, you did not. So, and I'm sure you like, oh, nah, I know you didn't. So
I'll be trying to tune you out.
You're right.
Truthfully.
I'm sure you do.
So when I get to a point where I'm actually,
so you're not listening.
When I'm arguing with you, then I'm listening and I'm like, right. But for the most part, I try to just tune you out. I don't want to argue. Like, that shit don't give you nothing.
Come on now. Everybody can say they don't want to argue. If you don't want to do it, then why do it? Ain't nobody put nothing to your goddamn head and make your ass do it. You ain't got to do it. So if you partaking in it, that means you want to do it. Because otherwise, at any given point in time, you could be like, hold up, pause. Let me get back to, like, let me calm you down. You could be like, oh yeah, baby, you want those baked by Melissas before we start arguing? There's something that you could do to soothe the situation. But if you don't want to do it, then you're not going to do it. So I think that's bullshit.
It's not bullshit. It's just a matter of what it is. It's not bullshit. Because a person don't want to do something, it's the moment. I'm big on moments. So in the moment, shit, I shot a nigga in the moment. After I shot, I'm like, damn, why I do that? Right? It's in the moment. You know better, but in the moment, it takes a lot for a person to, in the moment, to be like, okay, woosah and all that sucker shit. But you
control your own actions, and I think again we're going.
That's a skill, though.
No, but you can.
No, but that is a skill.
You can control
person just don't wake
your
up
own
one day
actions.
and like, you know what? I'm gonna start controlling my actions.
I think that's bullshit because you could go to work.
Minute.
I think we pick and choose when we control our actions because you gonna go to work and you ain't gonna be like, if they say something for you to do, you ain't gonna be like, nah, shit, fuck you.
You know me.
Pay me.
You know me.
No.
You know me.
You off topic.
You're talking about in general.
To listen, going back,
in general, you know me. I curse a motherfucker out at work, at the supermarket, wherever.
To understand, which one do you feel you do? I think, folks, he needs a little bit of help. Which one do you feel you do?
No, I definitely feel, for the most part, I listen to understand you. Like other people, maybe not. But for you, I listen to understand you. It just, for sometime, what you say, it strikes a nerve. And I'm like, I don't want to hear that shit. So from that moment, I turn off. And then I start to reply. And I think that, I know that's wrong.
But I think going back again, I think if something hits a nerve, that's because your defense mechanism kicked in. I'm going to my social work stuff, but you know what I'm saying? Because I think ultimately, if something hits a nerve, it's because your defense mechanism kicked in. So now what I said, again, it goes back to the message that I could have been trying to convey to you is not something that you're hearing. And maybe it could also be me too. It could be the way that I'm communicating the message. My defense mechanism probably kicked in. As I was communicating to you, I felt like, you know what, I can see, I'm big on body gestures. So for me, it's like I can see when you're not paying attention. I can tell when you just want me to shut up. I can tell when you just feel like, she's just nagging. So it's like, when I get that sense, now I'm like, oh, okay. Now I'm going to say something that's going to push your nerves. Because now I got your attention. I got you where I want you to be. Could be two sides of that. Like you could say, no, I already came into this marriage with love. That's how I got to this point. Or on the other end, it's like, now that you're married and you're husband and wife, because I'm your wife, now you're on a whole nother dimension. And so now you might need to pour something else into it versus what you were pouring into it before, because that just may not be enough to combine like the whole intertwine, rather, like you and I, our unity and the marriage component.
No, I like that. That's deep. That is deep. That's tough. That's almost like a little thing I found. I came across years ago. They called it the tool belt. The tool belt or the tool bag, something like that.
The tool belt.
The tool belt, the tool bag.
What do you have to say about that?
It's like you have to have these tools. You pick up along your
like
journey,
tools.
I'm sure, along your journey, you pick up these tools to deal with the problems that come, that come.
So you're gonna use a wrench?
I'm gonna use a monkey wrench.
No, he's not playing.
But no, I think that's about right, because a marriage is a union. We all know that. A, B together make C, whatever. But if you come into your marriage, that's like the saying, what you bring to the table.
Of course,
right?
you got to bring something to. Everybody feels you got to bring something to the table, and in any relationship, marriage. I mean, shoot, even a booty call, you got to bring something to the table.
That's true, because you got to bring some good something. You
got to bring something. Jump off.
Right. It gotta be right.
Something gotta be right.
To get that reoccurring call. You're right. No, but that's true. It's if the box is empty at the beginning of the match, it's almost like you starting fresh. That's basically what it is.
Right. That's true.
Because boyfriend, girlfriend
is one thing.
Fiancés.
Right. It's like in different
stages.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So now you get to the marriage. It's like, all right, we here now. I poured all this stuff into them to get in here. Okay, now we start over. It's just like video game. You beat all the little monsters, you get to level 2. You beat all the medium monsters, you get to level 3. You beat all the monsters, now you get to the Grand Wizard or whatever it is.
Right, and then you run around bragging, right?
True.
So that goes to my point. So that goes to my point. So
that's
now,
true.
right, going back to my point. So let me just bring it all back in for you. Going back to my point, that's why I say, I'm your wife. I'm your wife. I'm your wife. Because I got to the highest. How much higher can I get if I'm already to the highest? Like I'm at the
listen.
The finish line of relationships.
But you saying that means what?
That
it's
means
a bragging right. But for me, when you say
like, that, it's not a bragging right. I mean, in the midst of an argument, it could be a bragging right. You know what I'm saying? But ultimately, it's like it's a feeling of happiness. It's a feeling of like joy.
You don't use it that way though. You use it that way. You say, "I'm your wife. I'm the wife. I'm your wife. I'm the wife. I'm your wife." When we
first got married, it's like, "I'm your wife."
Right. It was cute.
right.
But now you use it like, "Oh, why this? Why that? Because I'm your wife." Like,
oh, why the dishes in the sink? Because I'm your wife.
Like, you kill me if I leave anything.
Why you yelling? Because I'm your wife.
Yes, you use that all the time. So it just, for me, it's like,
why you came home late? Why you asking me that?
Oh my God.
Because I'm your wife.
Yes, and I really like, at first when we first started, when we first got married, it was cool, that was cute. But it's not even that I don't like it, how you use it at times.
I think, keep in mind, we have only been married for a couple of months, so I'm still in my honeymoon phase per se of being like, I'm your wife.
Yeah,
I'm still in my, if you like things, you put in the ring. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean,
but being my wife, right? Being my wife doesn't mean. Let me bring it back. Let me go, because you talking about the levels. When we get to certain levels, right? This things happen. So now you're my wife. So you say, oh, it's bragging rights. Oh, I'm the wife, I'm the wife, I'm the wife. But because you say you're my wife, for me, it's like you're the same person you were. I'm the same person I was 5.5, 6 months ago before you said I do. I can't love you no more than I loved you.
Oh, yes,
6 months ago, a year ago, 5 years ago, when I seen you, I said, I'm gonna marry her. I can't love you, all my soul, all my self, all my being. What Eddie Murphy said, stand here, all my grandeur. Like, everything of me pours into you.
Go ahead, stand up and do that. Stand up in all your grandeur.
No, I'm not gonna do that.
No, but I don't.
So
So
when you say, "Oh, I'm your wife," I'm like, all right, but I'm gonna love you. I love you the same yesterday as I do today. Like,
I still believe it's different. I do, and I think that ultimately, when we bring it back to it, you said we were talking about the marriage box, right? And so you putting stuff in because now you're at a whole nother dimension. So now I'm at that other dimension, and so me saying I'm your wife is putting something into it for me. It may or may not be putting something into it for you, but for me, it means something. And it's not a bragging rights, and it's not like a get out of jail free card, because I could use it as those kind of things, you know. But I think more than bigger than that, it's
I don't know how that's gonna go.
Oh, it's gonna go well. So bigger than that, it's a feeling of contentment. It's still a feeling of happiness to say that I'm your wife, and I would rather say that than be like I'm not your wife.
Whatever. Look, I'm hungry. I got bubbles in the refrigerator. Not much. I'm gonna run out and get something to eat.
Got it.
We could order something. I think it's a little too late to order.
It could be, but
I'm gonna run out and get something to eat.
Let's go.
Come on, baby.
Oh, they really have to get me walking? You have to get me getting up? That's a part of the scene.